extroverted executive. Are you the Mr. Outside?
I don't know if I'm the Mr. Outside. I certainly spend probably easy half of my days traveling and trying to sell something. And by the way, if anyone wants some furniture, is just for modular walls, just call me.
Outside.
I'm inside, but I still take orders. Sorry, I had to say.
Go ahead. Outside guys always sell.
Very frankly, I think just stepping back, I mean, I take very little credit for what Haworth is today, because Haworth has really been built, I would say, to a large degree by two people. One is Dick Haworth, which is the son of the founder, which now is the chairman of the company, and by the CEO, the person that was before me, was Jerry Johannesson. That, I think that was, I would say, your perfect, the famous picture,
yeah.
A lot of picture of Haworth until 6, 7 years ago would have had the same, duality, Mr. Outside, which was certainly Dick Haworth, and Mr. Inside, which was Jerry Johannesson, which made really the company moving from 0 to 1.2 billion, before 2001 crash. So today I don't have necessarily one Mr. Inside. Probably the closest one is my director of operation, which is certainly spending for the most part, taking care of the house when I'm out fishing.
So you spend your time fishing for customers and alliance partners, looking for new markets?
I spend as much time, my focus is really, customers, alliances, and innovation. That's where I try to spend most of my time. And
Adrian?
For me, I am the outside person, and I have an executive vice president over operations, who's my inside person. I've got 4 different facilities. One is here in Grand Rapids, and then Columbus, Fort Lauderdale, and Phoenix, Arizona. And I travel to each of the sites once a quarter. I also report to a parent company in Manhattan. But what I do on the outside, in addition to meeting with customers and motivating our employees, is I sit on the executive committee of the board of directors for GAMA, which is the General Aviation Manufacturers Association. So that gets me to DC a lot. And so, I'm in an opportunity where I'm with the other CEOs of aircraft manufacturers, such as Cessna, Bombardier, and Cirrus Aircraft, and so on. And so I get the chance to interface with them. I get the opportunity to try to influence policy on the Hill through the FAA and such, and then also meeting with my people and the customers and trade shows. But we have a nice thing. I try to keep connected with my business also, even though I'm out calling on people and generating business for the company. I do a 3-minute podcast once a week that any one of my employees can go to their computer or to our cafe where we've got some internet stations. And I just give a 3-minute blurb on this is what's happening in the company and this is what's happening in the market. And especially like most markets today, everything is imploding, it seems. And so there's a lot of nervous employees. And this is a way that helps them to stay connected once a week for 3 minutes. It's their choice. They can tune in or not. But then they hear directly from me. And that's something that's really important to keep the unity across the division.
Important to do. Clarity of message, consistent messages, getting everybody the big picture from your vantage point.
Yep. I have a wonderful management team that we've really worked to cultivate. That is another really, really important thing, and having so many employees, 600 people within my division. Having the management team being all on the same page and communicating the same message. It's great to have that when you can set the tone and then carry that message through and be able to cascade down through the organization. And for all of us here, who are professional managers, it's not us who get all the work done. It's the people that are doing the work, and to be able to have that team that's in sync with your vision.
Excellent, thank you, Tom.
I've been blessed with a phenomenal team of inside-outside folks. If you look at our company, we're not only at the senior level, inside-outside, but throughout every functional part of the company, whether you're talking about operations or purchasing or sales and marketing, we have people with inside-outside capabilities complementing one another in each of those areas. And what's really interesting is that we've learned that we use the DISC profile and the competing values framework, which, if you're not familiar with that, it breaks up personalities from process orientation to execution to interpersonal relational. What we've found is that on the inside, you need a process-oriented person who can lay out the plan. But then you need someone with a execution orientation to really get it done, to execute, implement the plan. And then you need folks with the external orientation to relate with the others in the external marketplace. But also the execution person inside often has to have a bit of an outward personality. In the two gentlemen I have here, I have two of the best people in our industry at taking an idea, developing a blueprint, and then actually implementing and executing. And that's part of our success on the home center front was we had a great outside guy and a great structural process guy. And by the way, if you're looking for an execution guy, I recommend you go to the Army. That's a good place to look. Overall, that model served us well, and now we intentionally build our teams around that concept.
It's interesting you share that. I was interviewing the CEO of HCL Technologies, and they have inside-outside. They call it two in a box. And they think of in outsourcing as a perfect model. You have a sales executive and a delivery executive joined at the hip so that whatever you commit to, you can deliver. And it's all about flawless execution. So as Vineet described it, competitors can copy what you do, but they can't copy how you do it. So part of your value proposition is flawless execution. And in tough times, it's about transparency, it's about accountability, and it's about flexibility. And one of the value adds they discovered in the gap with large companies in tough times is that these outsourcing contracts were locked in for 7 years. And how can you offer, as a small company, a flexible relationship? So as companies move through different needs, processes, or sizing, you can right-size for them very quickly, speed of response. And that's how they broke into outsourcing and competed with IBM. And by the way, they just signed a global contract with Nokia last week in desktop outsourcing for 76 countries, their first large global contract, and competed with IBM and others to do that. So even when you get to $1 billion, you got to behave like a small company on a much different scale. Now, board of directors. Thank you, my favorite topic. So let's start down at the end, Tom. Board of directors. Now, you can be private or public. You may or may not have a formal structure, but what are the pros and cons, and where are you on your journey of trying to complement management team members and investors?
We have a bit of a complex structure. We are publicly held. We're owned by a publicly held company in New Zealand, of which we are the majority of their operating entities, performance, and their majority shareholder is another publicly held investment company in New Zealand. And so we end up with this myriad of layers of folks who are related to investment, and they're not really day-to-day operating managers. They're more reporting operating managers for the investors. So the board itself we failed on your scale. But we've moved beyond I talked about the informal board of advisors that my father used, and now in our organization, we're actually bringing together people to be on this board of advisors that are with companies that have gone through this rapid kind of growth, not directly in the space that we're in, but companies where the models complement one another. And we're going to be setting up a regular scheduled kind of meeting program with that. We don't have customers on this program as of yet, but after talking to you, we're going to look at.
But what I found was that it was about